The Spartans said they would flinch, and they did.
Rari sitting on 24. You did. That couldn't bitch, she couldn't play her role. You did. A couple million plus I spent on clothes. You did. Bitch acting like she scared, I brought her a ghost. You did. These lame ass rappers trying to see if I fuck they bitch, you know I did. Got 300 pounds in the spot and they all disappear, you know they win. Ain't worried about a hoe telling her best friend I'm cheap, she know I'm rich. Got 4 or 5 hoes on the jet and it's only me, you know I'm lit. I'm a hot head but my heart cold, that bitch just wanna thought. I done ran it up, ain't going broke, that shit ain't in my thoughts. I'm a real player, if you play it wrong, you can't keep shit that I bought. Got white girl like Mary Jane, trap swinging like P. Park, can't blame me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the SD4L show. I'm Justin Thind. I'm here with my co-host Brian Masalm. Brian, how you doing today?
You know, I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
But we got to get off the schneid.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Speaking of fantastic,
yeah,
we got Keon Coleman here joining the show today. One of the biggest bright spots in Michigan State's season. Michigan State's last game against Washington and future. Keon, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just thankful for the invitation to the show today.
For sure, for sure. So, Keon, we got to ask you. You were one of Michigan State's first marquee commitments under Mel Tucker. You were the highest-ranked commit of Mel's first class. So can you take us through your recruitment timeline and when you kind of knew Michigan State was going to be the school? Because if I recall correctly, your recruitment came down to the very, very end.
Yeah, something like that. It was in the middle of some crazy times, you know. It was in the middle of basketball season, football season, and just not knowing, you know what I'm saying, the exact things I was looking for in the school, because that was like a new process to me. But when I met, you know what I'm saying, when I met Coach Tuck and actually started, actually trying to decide where I wanted to go, it really just came down to where I was going to have the best chance of being successful on and off the field at, and having a great relationship with my coaches, you know, on and off the field too, and just what coach is going to help me become a better man at the end of the day. And like the area helped too, you know. It's good away from, it's far away from home, you know, so it's a different experience, and things I get the experience that a lot of people wouldn't get to. So just being able to bring my family up here and enjoy the loving fans and the culture around here, so that just was a deal breaker for me. And I mean, I didn't really know where I was gonna go until literally that day of signing day. So it was a nail biter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So briefly, thank you for joining us, and we're obviously thrilled with what you've been able to accomplish so far, and we obviously Spartan Nation has big plans for you. But what made you want to play for Mel Tucker, number one, and what kind of culture shock has it been for you coming up north?
Who wouldn't want to play for the best coach in America? That's a no-brainer. He's one of the realest dudes I ever met, especially as a coach. You know, a lot of coaches be on and off, but he's a real cool dude, and he's about winning. He's about hard work. You know, getting where you're trying to go, and he's been there where I'm trying to get. So why not come learn from the best? And the culture shock. It hasn't been very bad. You know, adjusting to certain foods, that's pretty much it. The weather's not as big as people thought. It's not as bad. But then I see the food. The food is definitely different.
Yeah, I saw Keon in a press conference that he was eating Subway all the time because he didn't mess with any of the other food that was up here.
Well, no, Creole. What's so different about the food? Tell us. What's different?
I'm pretty sure you know the difference. We put down back home. We got everything.
Yeah, I mean Subway. I don't want to get hit with a lawsuit for slandering Subway, but Subway's not top 15 in East Lansing.
Whoa. I love Subway.
Yeah, because you're trying to lose weight. We're talking about people that are trying to eat well.
Wraps, no carbs. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Eat well. Subway like that, regardless.
All right. Okay. So, Keon, you have gotten a chance to get coached by Courtney Hawkins for 2 off seasons now, a year and a half total. He's a guy that played in the NFL for a decade. He's a guy that has been a leader of men at the high school level. This is his first college job. What can you tell us about what it's been like getting coached by him and what this time has been like?
It's been very productive for me on and off the field. He's another real cool guy that Coach Up, hired to come under him and coach us up. I came in not with a lot of knowledge as a receiver, so he pretty much helped me progress in every phase of that. And be for real, he really the reason I can do everything I can do on the field. Because without his mentorship, I don't think a lot of those things would be possible.
Obviously Hawk is, he played, 9 years in the league, and he's very highly regarded, was an MSU legend. So I'm sure, when you learn from the best, you're going to play like the best. But, when you talk about, you're one of the few 2-sport athletes that we have at the university. How does it feel like playing 2 sports? And what's the difference?
I don't really feel like it's like a difference. Because, you still have to balance your schedule. It's not like you're doing them both at the same time. So it's like once you're done with one, you pick up the other, and school's still going on and everything else like that. You still got to take care of your body. So, I don't really think that's different. A lot of people might think it's difficult, but, I've been doing that my whole life, so I don't really think it's a change. And what was the first question? I didn't get the first question.
I said...
Yeah, just like what's it like playing both sports?
What's it like playing for Hawk? Yeah, that
or
was
no,
really...
just playing both sports.
Playing both sports. Like, what's the difference between playing both sports?
Or just you can tell us what's it like playing for Coach Izzo?
Yeah, tell us that. Hold on. What's the difference between Izzo and Tuck? That's what I want to know.
It's not much of a difference. They both coach the same way. They're players, coaches. They're people. Like. They're going to be involved with you, and they're going to help you every step of the way. They want to win. They want to get as much out of you as they can. Because potential, like they say, potential get you beat. They're trying to get all that out of you so you can put that on the field and on the court. They're just trying to work hard and get everything done. For the most part, they like this. They like the same to me, to be honest. It's like a mirror. It's like mirror. It's like the same thing when I go to basketball.
Yeah.
They owe me this hard.
I like that term. Potential gets you beat. I've never heard that before. That's potential gets you beat. You're right. You're absolutely right. That P word's a dangerous word, right? It's who can deliver.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, it's great hearing just your approach to everything, Keon. And I know on Twitter, one of my favorite tweets I've ever seen from a recruit, I think it was your senior year, somebody had a tweet. It said, like, who's the best high school player you've ever played with or against or something. You quote tweeted, you said Keon Coleman. And I was down when I saw that. And just as I've listened to you in press conferences and stuff, you have this great level of confidence, but you don't say it in a cocky way. You don't ever say it in an arrogant way to boast. You say it because you truly believe you have those capabilities. What can you tell us about your confidence level, where it comes from, and just how important that is to you?
The where it comes from is, being able to, let's see how I can say this. So if you're not confident in yourself and your abilities, who's going to be confident for you? You know what I'm saying? And it's about, like, the position I play is you got to have a certain level of swag and confidence about what you can do. Because if not, DBs pick up on energy and vibes, and they're going to destroy you out there. So you got to have a different level, a different mindset you got to be able to tap into. But for me, I feel like that's just me on the daily. And I feel like that confidence comes from preparation and sharpening my knives and my tools that Coach Hawk helped me with, so that I can put those things on the field and be confident about those things and confident in my ability because I prepared as such.
So, just briefly, right? You've had some mentors or just senior leadership or older leadership around you. Briefly talk about what you've learned from Jaden and Trey Mosley as you've learned to become a better receiver, better player, better teammate. What have they taught you? Because, as we all know, that you can't teach experience.
So they pretty much taught me a lot about accountability and, like being more of a leader, vocal leader, not just leading by example. You got to be able to take people with you. Don't just do anything by yourself. If you're going to do something, try to take people with you so everybody gets better, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And on the field, they just taught me, reading coverages, being able to dissect defenses and be able to just thrive through those momentum swings and stuff like that for the most part. And helping me getting in and out my breaks, trusting the process of what Coach Hawk's teaching us all, and just being more accountable.
So, Keon, I got to ask you, when you're getting ready for these games, when you're getting ready for your multi-touchdown performances and stuff, what's going through your headphones before the game? Give us your top 5 favorite rappers.
We talking about just favorite rappers or what I listen to on game day? Because it's totally different.
Let's go.
Interesting.
So first, let's go with your top 5, and then you can tell us who you're listening to per game if they're not part of that.
So top 5.
Yeah.
I gotta have Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne at 1. Wayne gotta be 1. Lil Baby, Young Boy, Polo G, and we can go Tupac. Tupac at 5.
Okay. I love that list. What's your favorite Wayne album?
I like that Sorry for the Wait too.
Okay. I love the Sorry for the Wait. Love all the remixes he does and the covers. I gotta go with the Carter 4.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the Carter 4 is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made better songs than what the original song was.
He really did. He really did. He just snatched their songs and just outdid them. So
my favorite song though is John.
John goes hard.
Crazy on that.
Yeah, Mega Man.
Every day.
Mega Man was going hard on that album too. Yeah. All right. So what are you listening to pregame?
He didn't agree.
Yeah, he didn't agree with Mega Man going hard. I mean,
what's up with that?
It's okay.
Nah, Lil Wayne carried that.
Yeah. Lil Wayne is he's the GOAT. He's top 3 all time.
What if we have him on the sideline for the Ohio State game? Are you okay with that?
It ain't about me. Tuck don't have to be okay with that. I can't make those
Right, you got to make that happen.
I mean, Tuck's gonna make those decisions, not me.
You gotta talk to the head man for that.
Yeah.
All right, Keon. So pregame then.
Pregame, I got a lot of stuff going on. It just depends.
Okay.
So I for sure gotta have some young boy in there. Like some young boy, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Lil G gonna be in there. Lil Baby gonna be in there. Tupac gonna be in there, of course. But I like to go old school with some like old school soul R&B, like just calm my mind and just calm the spirits and just be level-headed. So I gotta throw some slow stuff in there, some ride wave in there. Let's see.
Okay. Nah, that's a good list. That's a good list.
Some legend.
Yeah.
My generation is Biggie, Tupac. I like it's kind of what I listen to that I enjoy.
Yeah, you got to start getting into that Polo G.
Yeah, that's just that's what I listen to back. Run DMC.
A different level of your mind.
Yeah. It's all right, Keon. We'll get him onto that Polo G.
Keon, what do you like better?
Got some work to do on that one.
Sure.
I mean, I'm old, man. I mean, it is what it is. But tell me what you like. What's more enjoyable to you, scoring a touchdown or dunking a basketball? Whoa, we got the pause there.
Scoring a touchdown.
Okay. All right. Definitely right now this fall. That's what we need. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's also more points, though.
That's true. But can't argue with the math.
Cannot argue with the math.
So, Keon, what was it like your first time heading out there, Spartan Stadium, as a starting receiver, week 1? you going out there catching jump ball after jump ball, just like you said you would in the preseason press conference. You said they're not 50-50s, they're like 80-20s, and you delivered. So what was it like there this year, going in there, being a main player, and just seeing Spartan Stadium full, cheering you on? What was that experience like for you this year?
I mean, it was mind-blowing, you know. But I didn't let that affect me in the game. I just kind of, once the game started, I kind of tuned it out. You know, coach allowed you to go out there a little early and, you know what I'm saying, just look around and take some deep breaths so you could be good when the game started. But, I mean, it felt good, you know, being able to make some plays in front of our home fans and full house first game of the year.
Yeah.
It was one to remember for sure.
Yeah, and Keon, my last question for you, just sticking with the support kind of angle. Michigan State Twitter, they're big fans of you. You've been their fan favorite for 2-3 years now.
Easily.
What's their support like? What do you think about Michigan State Twitter?
Best in the nation, hands down. Best in the nation, bro.
Absolutely. You know, you are absolutely a Twitter favorite, and I'll end this with one question. I appreciate you joining us. So, you know, we expect you to ball out this week, right? Like last week, and we want to get the W, and you know, we appreciate, we love seeing the way you've been balling, but just forecasting the future, where do you see yourself? Where are you going to be? Where are you going to get picked in the 2024 draft? What are you projecting?
I don't really know what teams, but I'm trying to go first round for sure.
He doesn't miss. He doesn't miss.
He don't miss. We can't get him. So
first round to whatever team willing to take a chance on me. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
God, you know what? God bless, man. We're proud of you. As a fellow Spartan Dawg, we're proud of the way you're balling. Keep balling. Keep playing. Keep getting better. Thank you for joining us tonight. And let's go out there Saturday, get that W, and do all that you got to do. So
We appreciate your time, Keon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Go green.
Go white. Thank you. Keon Coleman,
Yep.
right? Twitter sensation.
Yep.
Favorite of the fans.
Yep. Twitter sensation, basketball player, and then also does a little football as well.
And you know, his engagement level on Twitter has really had the fan base really excited, huh?
Yeah, right when Mel's first recruiting class was going on, there wasn't like as much of a upper echelon talent level that was in that recruiting class, because obviously they had to have the COVID, overcome COVID. They just got there, and Keon Coleman was like the lightning rod that brought all the hype and energy around that first class. They had Kevin Wigginton was doing recruiting, and everyone was taken to that. And they got Charles Brantley and now Teote and some of these guys. But Keon was the consistent guy. He had 50 offers. He committed to Kansas for a while to play for Bill Self and Kansas football, and decommitted. And Michigan State got their hopes up and stuck with their hopes. And on National Signing Day, he chose Michigan State.
What a wonderful young man with a level head on his shoulders. And that's exactly the type of man we want representing the program.
He has a very unique combination of level-headed, not cocky, but also supremely confident. Yeah, it's a unique combination.
He has a when you have that swag and that confidence and you really believe it, you don't come across as cocky.
Right.
It's that simple.
Right.
You know, but on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Mel Tucker, not happy.
We're going to show up tomorrow ready to work, and we're going to have a better football team next week. So I'll open it up for questions.
Mel, early on, they obviously were going and attacking you guys through the air. What did you see just from your level with what Penix was doing and what was going on in the back end?
Yeah, we had a matchup issue that they took advantage of. It was obvious. It showed up early in the game. We knew that it was going to be a game of explosives. Every time, if you look at their drives in the first two games, almost all of their scoring drives included explosive gains, and we knew that we needed to eliminate explosive gains, and we weren't able to do that. And it just was a deal where it's too easy to score when you give up big chunks, and so I have to look at the film to see exactly what we need to do to fix it, but we had some issues and with some matchups.
How difficult was it with that quarterback and the 2 or 3 receiving threats that they could present to you as a defense? How difficult was that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. We weren't able to hit the quarterback enough, and we weren't able to put enough pressure on him. And then, and we also really didn't stop the run like we needed to early downs. And so, but I mean, he's a good player. Like I said during the week, I mean, he's one of the best players in the country, we think. And but we weren't really able to do anything to get him out of rhythm, and we let him off the hook with some big plays.
So this past week, MSU lost to Washington, 39-28, down 3 time zones away in the Pacific Northwest, and you know there were a lot of the things that we watched that brought some pause and concern, but we don't doubt that they're going to get corrected. Justin, key takeaways from MSU's loss to Washington. What did you observe?
Yeah, so I think going into the game, we'll start there. One of the question marks was how would Peyton Thorne play for Michigan State? In the first 2 games when a lot of the other units on the team looked good, he looked shaky. In this game, Thorne played very well. He was not one of the issues, not one of the reasons they lost. Played really well for the most part, had just 2 mistakes, really. He had the interception, and then he missed Montorie Foster on a post route where he was open. But yeah, Peyton Thorne looks to be back to normal. That's something that Michigan State fans can take solace in moving forward. I think the biggest thing that really everybody kind of took to was just the secondary. I think the way I look at it is it's not really a black and white issue of, the corners were playing too far back, DBs were playing too far back. I think if you go back and you look at some of the plays in the first quarter, you look at Chester Kimbrough twice getting beat while he's pressing. You look at Amir Speed getting beat while he's pressing. Scotty Hazelton, as a result of that, started to play that cushion coverage, cover 3 type of scheme, where if you can't cover the guys pressing as they could in the first quarter, the defensive coordinator has to do that. Where I think that hopefully we see a change in the coming weeks is the amount of blitzes that they send, because a quarterback that's competent like Michael Penix and some of the others on the schedule will pick the defense apart if they have time and cushion coverage. So ideally, if you have to play cushion, you won't have time. So more blitzes is what I would like to see. And then the offensive line, pretty decent against the pass rush, but run blocking was not very good. That would ideally get sorted out. I think Coach Cap will be able to do that. He had them punching above their weight last year.
He sure will.
So it's that's something to look at, something that they need to get corrected there in terms of the run blocking.
So when you talk about secondary and pass coverage, right? It's misalignment, it's technique, it's scheme, and then it's talent level, right? And so I think we have the talent level to compete. I think we need to clean up some things. And, I'm very confident in Coach Hazelton's ability to right the ship. And, with Coach Tucker coaching the secondary, I believe you will see improvement as the year goes on. But definitely we got to get better. There's no question we got to get better.
It's very interesting because when Scotty was at Kansas State, he had Kansas State routinely in the top 20 as a defense while playing against very explosive offenses.
Pass happy.
So it's very interesting to see this be the issue. And I do think if they up the pressure, things will change. So we'll see what they decide to do in the coming weeks.
If you can get home with 4 people, right, Jacoby and Slade being out hurt us.
Right.
Let's X being out hurt us, Darius being out hurt. Not to make excuses.
Right.
But pressure is everything.
Yeah.
I think if you get pressure, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
If you don't get pressure, then your secondary is going to look average.
Right.
And you have to adjust at that point.
Yeah. And that's what they didn't adjust. They did adjust other things. I know if you watch the full game and you're watching the schemes and the coverages, it's not that they didn't make any adjustments. The second half defense was pretty different than the first half defense.
It was.
The issue was that the pass rush was the exact same in terms of effectiveness. So they did not adjust the pressure. They did not adjust blitzing. They did adjust in the back, but the key comes down to getting pressure on the quarterback, and that wasn't happening.
That is the absolute key, right? I mean, if you get pressure on the quarterback, your secondary is going to be fine. So we have the athletes to get pressure on the quarterback, and I'm quite confident That will improve as the year goes on. But I think one thing that Stephen Brooks pointed out was very interesting. If you can show that stat, right? When he talked about it, he said 37.9% of the rushes, when we go back to the O-line and we go back to the secondary, 37.9% of the rushes were for 0 or fewer yards. And Washington's had a 14% improvement in completion rate against zone versus man.
Yeah.
So as this game becomes more a game of analytics, what does that tell you?
This tells me that Michigan State's offensive line wasn't run blocking very effectively. And then this tells me that Michael Penix had more success throwing against Michigan State's zone than the man. I think that speaks to what Mel was saying in terms of some breakdowns in communication, because a lot of times we saw that Michigan State, they had several guys covering open spots of green grass and not on anybody. That's because of miscommunications in zone. So that basically tells us that in zone, which is obviously more complex to play, there were more breakdowns. So, yeah, like I said, I think the issue wasn't that they were playing too much zone. It's that it came with no pressure. So just, I would say blitz, go down blitzing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
I mean, any defense, if there's no pressure, you're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
Just the way it goes. Everybody knows the edge rusher is a premium, and I have no doubt the 2-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, national or Big Ten Player of the Week,
right,
will be able to fix that. But we got to get him some help. So I think what's really comforting is when the head coach gets up to the podium and takes accountability. And that speaks to the culture that Mel Tucker is building. If you could show Mel's quote, and Justin, you can read it.
Yeah, the reflection is, like I told the players, the resume is on the tape. Right now, I'm a horseshit football coach. Honestly, that's how I think about it, so we got to get better.
How about that analysis from a head coach?
Yeah.
That man tells you that the buck stops here. All right, so when you read that, Spartan Nation, you take comfort in that because he's accepting responsibility. The buck stops here, and that he is going to accept responsibility to fix it. Mm-hmm. And if it's not going to get fixed his way, there's going to be personnel changes, which he talked about.
Yep.
And I'm quite confident that it'll be fixed. I actually think like great leaders are able to do that, right? They're able to look in the mirror, they're able to self-evaluate, and kudos to Mel Tucker. When we talk about the impact players of this specific game versus Washington, and we have many highlights, obviously one that speaks out is our guest, the Spartan Dawg of the Week, was Keon Coleman. Keon had 9 receptions for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. And did you see anything different from Keon this week that you have in the past or thought or?
Yeah, no, Keon is just a dominant player. He's a guy that's stronger than a lot of the corners he goes against. He's also faster than he should be at his size. And this week, he just got more volume naturally, and he went ahead and made plays. I would say that he's a guy that is a security blanket that you should use anytime there's a broken play, and Peyton Thorne did that quite a bit. And I think that's what should happen going forward. And just he's gonna be a high draft pick in the NFL one day.
I agree. Trey Mosley flashed as well.
Yeah, Trey is always reliable. Just a guy you can turn to, a guy that knows how to run his routes, not going to have many miscommunications. And once again, Trey Mosley goes out there and does what he always does, and it's good to see from Trey. Just very reliable, underrated player he is.
I do think Trey is somewhat underrated. Mm-hmm. He makes a lot of plays. He absolutely does. You know who else flashed was Daniel Barker. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Daniel Barker had 7 receptions for 69 yards. Yeah. And I think the tight end, utilizing the tight end, especially in a 4-wide set where you're creating mismatches in a slot against a linebacker. Yeah. Daniel Barker could be a hell of a weapon.
Yeah. We talked about it on the show last week that I expected Daniel Barker to have a lot of targets this week because Jay Johnson was expected to open up the playbook this week, and he did. So DJ had 10 targets, and I think I expected, and I said he'd have 8+. So definitely Jay did not disappoint in utilizing the tight end that he finally got. And I think he's going to be a mainstay in the offense moving forward.
So now we move on, right? On to the next. MSU faces Minnesota Saturday, 3:30, Big Ten Network. Talk to us a little bit about the Gophers and what you see, Justin.
I think Michigan State fans immediately are fearful of the fact that Minnesota has a billion-year quarterback behind the pocket.
He's been there only 12 years.
Yeah. And he's a guy that's going to have experience and kind of know what he's doing, but I don't expect Michigan State to get shredded through the air. I know Aiden O'Connell is a guy that he gets compared to a lot, but I don't see as much similarity in their arm talents. And he's not a guy that has had a lot of 300-yard passing games in recent years. I think he's had 3 300-yard passing games since...
In 9 years.
Yeah, so like since Tyler Johnson or Rashad Bateman and those guys left, he hasn't really put up many passing yards. Of course, that can change this week, but I don't expect this to be as dangerous of a passing attack that some fans are worried about. Obviously, they have Mohamed Ibrahim. They have solid defensive talent on that team. They have guys that are going to make an impact. And we have some stats here of some of the key figures on both sides here. As you see under receiving yards, Cameron Ottman-Bell, he's unfortunately out for the year. You always hate to see that. But and then you see Mohamed Ibrahim, Tanner Morgan over there. And then on Michigan State side, you see Keon, Jalen Berger, Peyton Thorne. And the Football Power Index by ESPN has Michigan State winning by a 61% chance. So we'll see if that pans out.
We're 2.5-point underdogs.
I think...
who knows what? Vegas or ESPN?
This is... so ESPN and Vegas's opening line of MSU minus 1.5 seem to be aligned. It got bet over by the public. So the public seems to be down on Michigan State right now. But it's going to be interesting for sure.
So Minnesota has looked good, but they're entering the woodshed. And John Kirby's tweet, on the bright side, where are we?
We have, there it is, John's tweet. MSU is 5-2 when coming off a loss under Mel Tucker, and they were underdogs in 6 of those 7 games. And there you see each of the results that he's pointed out. So Mel has beaten Michigan coming off of a loss as 24-point underdogs. Mel's beaten Northwestern, a top 10 team, coming off of a loss. And Mel has beaten this past season Northwestern, Maryland, and Penn State coming off losses. And 2 of those was as underdogs.
So Mel has a propensity to not allow one loss turn into 2. And I think that's the key to college football is when you're facing an avalanche is to reverse the avalanche. And you know, one thing about this team is the neutral thinking, right? It takes what it takes and keep the main thing. And so everybody knows that I actually think we match up well against Minnesota. Keys to the game versus Minnesota. Justin, what are you seeing here when you watch the team? You and I watched about 8 hours of tape. When you watch that, tell me the keys to the game. Because you and I both agreed on what we saw. Yeah, it's Minnesota is they're going to come out there and they're going to play tough Midwest football. PJ Fleck has kind of brought that identity over from his days with Western Michigan. They're going to come in and try to set the tone on the ground. Like I said, Tanner Morgan's not going to rip Michigan State through the air. So one of the keys is Michigan State's going to have to take away Mohamed Ibrahim, their stable of backs behind him too, and neutralize that running game. Defense has to get off the field on 3rd down this week. Can't have 3rd and 7s over and over, breaking the back or anything of that nature. They have to get pressure on Tanner Morgan. Like I said, last week, out of all the complaints that everybody else had, my main complaint was the lack of blitzing. I would like to see that change this week and in the weeks going forward. I think as a result, you can win the turnover battle. We see what some immobile quarterbacks do when they get blitzed. We saw Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football, what happens there when you blitz the quarterback. And I think after last game, the lack of success they had running the football, it's very important to make sure that does not happen 2 games in a row just for the rest of the season's trajectory. So they have to force the run game to work this game. If it doesn't work, I guess you can't force it all game long, but they have to come in with an intentional, conscious effort to try to have the run game work. Let's go to Minnesota's players to watch on the PFF chart because this is important.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Very.
Pro Football Focus's highest ranked quarterback, running back, tight end and corner, and all of the Power 5 all happen to be Minnesota players. You see, obviously, Morgan and Ibrahim, who we've talked about. Then we see Terrell Smith at corner. And then we see Brevin Ford also over there at tight end. So these are guys that Michigan State's going to have to watch out for. But I still think this game is going to come down to Minnesota running the ball and whether Michigan State is going to be able to run the ball themselves.
Football is a game of matchups, right? And when you look at their personnel against our personnel, it's big on big. Big on big. Can we stop the run? We have. Have we historically had problems with pass-happy teams? We have. So football is all about matchups.
Right.
I think we match up well against Minnesota. That line of us being underdogs at home is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
They have some good players. PJ has a great program.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, in the woodshed, undefeated over the last, I think, is Mel's tenure. Have we lost in the woodshed? Yes, we have. The last 10 games, I believe we won.
Yeah, they haven't lost at the woodshed under Mel since they've had fans, I believe.
Yes, since we had fans. So this game is a huge game. It is the first Big Ten game. It will be the game in which will, in my opinion, dictate how the Big Ten season goes. So I'm excited. I'm expecting the woodshed to be riled up. I'm expecting a great showing from our program, and I can't wait till Saturday. How about you?
Yeah, I don't usually make a lot of predictions. I didn't make a prediction last week. I probably won't make a prediction that many times in the future, but I have a hard time picturing Michigan State losing this game. I think this is a game where they're going to have a very intentional agenda of what areas they have to establish success in. I expect them to have balance in the offense. I expect the run game to start working. Their defense is not a pushover defense. Honestly, their defense worries me almost more than their offense, especially with Cameron Ottman-Bell out. But I think Michigan State wins this game because if they can get that run game going and Peyton Thorne is proven to be back, I think they're going to have kind of the formula that they need to win this game.
A final in East Lansing, MSU 27, Minnesota 17. That's what I'm predicting.
Okay.
That because of the matchup. I think it's a great matchup for us. And I think the woodshed will be riled up. And so we're going to find out because at the end of the day they have to line up and play the game, right?
Yep, play it on the grass, not on the paper.
On to Owen's 360 MSU Sports Weekly Update. Owen, you are live. Let us have it.
All right, let's dive right into it. Hi, everybody. I am Owen Ozis with Owen's 360 MSU Sports Weekly Update. Let's start off with field hockey on Friday, September 16th. MSU fell to number 19 Rutgers 3-2 in overtime. Hannah Jarvie scored as well as Issa Vanderweij. Ashley Harlog had 2 assists in that one as well. On Sunday, MSU took down Bellarmine 3-1. Harlock and Vanderweij both scored it, as well as Lulu Fulton. Over to women's soccer, Lauren DeBow recorded the Spartans' second straight hat trick as MSU routed Illinois 3-0 in their Big Ten opener. DeBow also won Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week and also netted the fastest hat trick in MSU history in 11 minutes and 2 seconds. Quickly over to men's soccer, MSU fell 4-1 to number 4 Washington. Jacob Cromer was the only Spartan to score in that one. Finally, over to volleyball, this past weekend was the Green and White Classic at the Breslin Center. On Friday, MSU took down Oakland 3-0. On Saturday, the Spartans routed Chicago State 3-1 behind Aaliyah Moore's 17 kills. Then later that day, MSU finished off the sweep against Evansville 3-0 with Evie Duzaman. She picked up 11 kills. MSU moves to 9-2 on the season. Until next week, I am Owen Ozis with Owen's 360 MSU Sports Weekly Update.
Owen, thank you. That was wonderful. I think we need to get Leah Johnson, our volleyball coach, on. Susie Merchant would be great as well. We would love to see them on the show. Can you make that happen, Owen?
We could. Let's make it happen.
Can you personally make that happen?
You know, I bet I could email some people and make some phone calls.
Can you email some people?
Yeah.
Can you text A.D. Haller?
Susie actually, she bought me ice cream. Fun fact.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's talk to Colton. Colton Pouncey, melting moments. What was it?
No, it's so they had just lost in the Big Ten tournament.
Okay.
They were coming back. I was on the bus ride back with them because my car actually broke down from Indy. And then basically we all of a sudden stopped at like this Dairy Queen. I don't even know. It might have been Chicago or something like that. And she's just like, all right, everybody out. We're getting ice cream. Season's over. So, and she's like, you want some ice cream? And I'm like, sure. And so she bought me I forget what it was, but it's some kind of mixer that Dairy Queen has. So yeah.
Wow.
This is a fun fact right there.
She's a wonderful person.
She is. She's awesome.
You have failed geography. Because you were coming back from Indy.
That would make sense.
It's probably
that
Fort
would make
Wayne.
sense.
It's probably Fort Wayne. It's not
honestly,
Chicago.
I don't remember.
I know, but
it was a bus.
After the show, we're going to show you a map.
Okay.
You can't physically come back to Detroit from Indy.
Okay.
And it'd be Chicago, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, here,
what about the long way? Could you go long way around?
No.
Not really. You know?
Yeah. Because then there's the lake. And then you have Indy down here.
He's drawing the lake.
I'll show it to him after.
He'll show the show.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
that does it.
That's it, Joe. Justin.
Yeah, that does it for this week's show, guys. Thanks for joining us once again. We're going to be talking about this week's game against Minnesota next week. Hopefully you enjoyed Keon Coleman joining the show. And until next time, that's Brian. I'm Justin. And thanks for watching the SD4L show.
Go Green.
Please close your eyes, turn around, and count to 9. When you open them, I will be gone.
Okay, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Spartans said they were tougher. The Spartans said